You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail, the ultimate midlife crisis. Join Steve and his guests every week as he staggers from Georgia to Maine.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again for coming back to Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail, the ultimate midlife crisis. Once again, my name is Ryan Hopkins, or JR, and I hope everyone enjoyed the show last week. If you did listen with Steve doing his monthly show, I really enjoyed the interview, and I think it is a great format we have going with the show right now and with me guest hosting. So something we talked about originally was figuring out ways to get on the trail more, and the last show that I did 2 weeks ago was the on-trail interviews. I was really curious to hear from some hostel owners and folks that are kind of adjacent to the trail in that capacity, so shuttle drivers, that kind of thing. And I started doing some thinking and reading about some places in Georgia. And I've stayed at quite a few places in Georgia. And I was curious about a place called Hostel Around the Bend. Some of you may be familiar with it. It used to be known as the Top of Georgia Hiking Center. I think it was Center, which closed and has changed ownership now and has kind of officially opened up this season for their first through hiking season. And so I went down and I got to chat with the owners. It definitely is a working, operating hostel. There was lots of commotion, lots of people in and out, all just never a dull moment. And I guess that's what you can expect from a hostel in Georgia in April. So the owners, Gordon and Lisa Simmons, are originally from around the area, and they will obviously share more about how they came to be involved with the hostel. But it was such a treat to meet them and their dogs as well. Gordon and Lisa will be on in just a few minutes. Also, as a reminder, we'll be hearing from Steve and Phoenix at the end of the show after the interview, and they'll be getting caught up on the progress of her through hike and how things are going for her on the trail. All right, so let's get to the interview now. All right, we are here at Hostel Around the Bend with Gordon and Lisa. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for inviting me out here and making the time. We've got some dogs in here too. Making the time to chat today. I know a lot of folks are curious just to hear more about your story in the hostel since this is your first season, right? Being
yes.
open, first season. So if you want to start a little bit of an introduction, maybe a little bit more about yourself and how you ended up getting or finding out about this hostel.
So we moved up to the mountains from Atlanta in 2011 for Lisa's job. She's a pharmacist at Ingalls over there. And we've been up here for a decade. And we had sold our house back in 2018. You moved to the mountains to kind of have your own seclusion, and we learned the area we were in. We were very much involved with our neighbors, community road. So you're always talking to your neighbors, getting involved, and saw an opportunity to sell back in 18. Had a friend that let us stay at their house. They were looking for a tenant. Everything kind of just fell in line. And we rent it for a year, and we drive by this place all the time for years because
my dad lives in Hiawassee, further in town, so we would drive by here a lot, and I would always look over and kind of see if I could peek through the trees to see what it looked like. I was always just really curious about. I'd never been to a hostel before, didn't know what it was about. So every time we drove by, the gate was closed in 2019, and just like, wonder what's going on at that hostel. So it was Thanksgiving, and we drove by, and on the way to see my dad, and we as we were driving by, Gordon was like, "Well, if the hostel's for sale, I want to buy it."
Yeah.
So
had no clue about it. I'd stayed at hostels before, but not this one. But it popped up on the market 2 weeks later.
Yeah, he woke me up one morning. I was sound asleep, and he like woke me up. He's like, "Wake up! We're gonna go at the hostel. It's for sale. Come on, hurry up, let's go." So yeah, we came and checked it out, and just a really cool piece of property, a really great space, beautiful area, and it had everything we were looking for, and just interesting history of it. It used to be top of Georgia, and we saw a lot of potential here, and we so they accepted our offer, and here we are.
We really like the property because you're bordering the national forest. You're the last house in the county before the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, really? I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the closest house in Towns County to the trail. We're only half a mile. Got hook size 0.6 to the trailhead from here, so we're walk in. It's the place needed a lot of work. We spent all of 2020 remodeling. We did have a few people that came and stayed with us. We met one guy in Colorado when we were out there snowboarding, and he was a shuttle driver out there, and he had told us that he was going to be hiking the trail, and so we invited him to come stay with us. He was our first guest. His trail name was 2 Week. It was he'd gotten it because he was only supposed to be on the trail for 2 weeks, and then decided to attempt it, and then he attempted it again last year, and I think he's going to attempt next year. He had to get off like he did and everything.
Yeah.
So, but it had a few other people that come by and stop by, but it was actually a good year to do construction.
Yeah,
because there was no way for us to be open with the hikers.
Yeah, we were expecting it not to take us long doing renovations, but we ended up needing to do a lot more work to the place to get it how we wanted it than we were expecting. So it worked out good as far as the timing. We were just a little nervous at first because we bought it in January 2020. And then a couple months later, COVID was a thing. And just like, oh no, what do we do? What's going to happen?
I was panicked.
Yeah.
I was real nervous. I thought everything was going to be like the 06, 08 recession again. And thankfully it wasn't. But we took that time to redo everything, and we had to redeck all the floors in here and redo some floor joists. We lost the bathrooms, lost some plumbing, had to redo all that, and then we had to jack the walls up from settling because the house was older, and ended up having to skim coat the whole place in here and redo the drywall, and then it cracked the ceiling. We jacked everything up, so we just covered it in the pine board, and the next year just went back, fixed a lot of trim, put new floors in and painted everything, new appliances. We were going to do a bigger scale, but we got a little bit spooked with the stuff, but it all worked out. And redid all the cabins, bought 21 new mattresses last year. That was fun. Ended up redoing all the bunks because they were a little bit wobbly.
Yeah, I got to see the bunk room. Those bunks are really nice.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We have a friend there's a winery less than a mile from here, and hikers go check that out too. They're hiker friendly. They enjoy them coming out. It's High Tower Creek Vineyard.
Oh, really? Okay.
And the guy that built the bunks is actually the winemaker over there. Cool. And he works a couple days a week over here helping us turn beds and hanging out with people and make sure everyone's got everything they need. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that context and some backstory. Y'all were kind enough to give me a tour of the hostel and the whole area here. It's really nice. So the work y'all have done, this is really, really fantastic. And it looks great.
Thank you.
I should have said this at the top of the interview. This is very much an active working hostel right now. So if you hear dogs or cars or hikers, or if they have to run for a moment, that's what's going on. I know it's a hectic time of the year down here. But I'd be curious to hear a little more about that process of getting the hostel kind of up and running outside of the construction. Like, what are some things that you didn't think about, or people wouldn't think about, that kind of goes into getting something like this kind of online?
Well, this was, even just from the get-go, everything's been, a little bit more of a challenge compared to like buying a regular house, because of with the first loan was going to be residential, and then we ended up having to go to commercial loan, put more money down, and finding a bank that would even be willing to help us with this place because of the zoning on it. And that was something that I did not consider at all. Most of the time was spent getting just everything set up, decorated, and all that, and getting it ready. But you're asking about like the website and stuff?
Yeah, sure. Just anything that most people wouldn't maybe not think about as far as getting a place set up.
So this has been a really fun process because of everything has just flown, has a certain flow to it. And it's been really awesome to experience that. We had someone, we put up a post in November that we were going to open the hostel back up because we kept real quiet about it. We were working on getting it set up.
This past November?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So November we announced we were going to do it, and then we put it up on Airbnb where you could rent out bedrooms or the whole facility, and people rented the guest house 34 nights total in 2 months, and no one was renting the private rooms, and so it was good because that gave us a chance to kind of get familiar with just kind of the housekeeping and what it would take to turn the beds, and it also helped us raise money for the shuttle van. And we shut down in January, and then fully concentrated on getting everything set up for the hikers. And, just buying coffee, just all the little stuff, all the towels, buying 100 sets of towels and make sure that you have enough to be able to stay in 2 days.
And we haven't through hiked or anything yet. We do enjoy day hiking, and we've gone on some backpacking trips.
Done the Georgia section, the Bartram Trail.
Yeah. But we designed the hostel as a place that we would want to stay at if we were hiking.
Yeah.
So just all the little things, just Airbnb helped because there's checklists and, as far as amenities, like you were saying, the coffee, creamer, just cooking supplies. We have pre-pasted toothbrushes for guests if they need them. So just little stuff like that I guess, I feel like people appreciate. It's just, something extra that we can provide to people that,
So, and when we had announced November on the Appalachian Trail group and on Facebook that we were going to be opening as a hostel, we got contacted from a person doing an article on the track, and they wrote an article about it, and someone had came up that had through hiked in 19, and him and his girlfriend, they're doing van life right now, and they went out and just did 1,800 miles in Texas to San Diego. Wow. And I told him, gave him the tour. He had stayed here back when it was old top of Georgia, and showed him everything we did different, hung out with him for a while. And they were going down to do the Florida Trail. So I asked them if, when they were done with the Florida Trail, if they wanted to come work for us. And they said, well, when we get done with that, we'll consider it. In 2020, they were doing Trail Magic on the AT. And they met Bear, our shuttle driver now out there, and he was doing Trail Magic on the Florida Trail when they were out there hiking it.
Oh, wow.
And so they had ran into each other and told him about we were looking for someone, and he contacted us through Instagram, and we're grateful to have him. He's been a big asset.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without him. It's been awesome.
So he does all the shuttling?
All the shuttling, and then he's pretty much in charge when we're not here. And then we have other folks come in and help us turn the beds as well that are locals, like the winemaker down the road. Okay. But, he's the shuttle driver. He through hiked last year, and he'd be a good one to talk to as well. Okay. While you're here.
Now, this might be an obvious question, but is there any kind of flow in this season? Like, is it busier on the weekends, busier in the week, or during through hiking season, it's just every day? So we've been pretty booked solid, pretty much since March. Yeah, I'd say beginning
after
of March.
First week of March.
February 10th, the first day that Bear came up, it was like we had one person stay beginning of February, a couple people, and we didn't have a reputation or brand built, and so a lot of people were still going into town. Like, we would hang out at the Gap. A lot of people, I'm going into town, already got stuff, and just trying to get folks here. And then the 10th, though, we had a full night, February 10th, and we were planning on opening up the 15th, and then it kind of slowed down, and then it picked up, and it just hit or miss. But as soon as March, like first week of March, we've been booked pretty much solid. Wow. Every single night within, like, we'll have rooms available, and then like a day or like 2 to 3 days before is usually when they're all getting booked up. And it's been a learning process. Like, we figured out we help people slack pack from Unicoi because it's only 17 miles over the mountain. Okay. So we'll grab people at Unicoi if you book 2 nights. We'll grab you Unicoi, get cleaned up, everything, hang out. Next morning, 8 a.m., we take you back to Unicoi. You can go over the mountain. We have a few packs available to lend to people. And if we don't have enough available, if we have a large group that's doing it, then a lot of people just leave all their heavy stuff, take their pack, and then just the essentials, and go to the mountain, come back, stay another night, and then, you know, some people will zero the following day. So we'll get folks that stay 3-4 nights, and then other times they'll get back on the trail and just knock it out.
Nice. So that kind of top chunk of Georgia, y'all are able to service in some capacity.
Yep.
Which is really great.
Yep.
How would you say is the best way for hikers, I think I overheard you talking earlier about.
Oh, I didn't finish that one thing. I didn't mean to. Yeah.
No, please.
The trek. So this guy wrote, you asked about the website too.
Yeah.
So this guy read the article on the trek about this place. And it was just kind of funny how that one article kind of just brought these folks here that have helped us with this, just the flow of just, we'll figure it out. It just has kind of happened. So he has a hostel on the PCT in California in Big Bear. And he contacted us and said, hey, I have this software that I'm developing. There's very few places that are using it. Would y'all be interested in taking a look at it? And I ended up talking to him for like 3 hours on the phone, and he was phenomenal. And I asked him, I said, why are you being so friendly and talking to me this long? I'm sure you got other stuff that's way more important than talking to some guy in Georgia from California. And he said, well, nobody really helped me out when I started 25 years ago.
Wow.
So I'd love to, he just dropped all this knowledge. And so we use a software.
And he just got connected through that article.
Because that article.
Yeah,
he contacted us and reached out. And I told her about it. And she said, well, you know, we'll take a look at the demo. And as soon as she saw the demo, she's like, yeah, this is awesome. This really helped. And it's been a major help. And it's called Front Desk Express. If there's any other people out there that's looking to do something like this, it helps you get everything online. It links, so we can still have it linked to Airbnb or VRBO. And
all through your website.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it'll block off those listings if someone books through our main website.
Oh, that's great.
And our main website, you know, there's no fees and stuff if you go through the main website and you're just booking direct with us.
Okay.
It's that was great. That one article brought us there, and then also brought us
How about that?
the website and the software and all that.
Wow. I love those kind of stories. You know, a lot of just folks in the trail community always come together. It seems like so serendipitously, but always, you know, to be helpful, which is just great.
And he even told us about the how to build our own landing page. So they have another website. So the first landing page is ours, kind of just generic information. And then when you click on Book Now, it'll take you to his software website where you can actually book the room. But he helped her do it, and y'all talked for 6 months.
Yeah. Like the customer service has been amazing. Like if I have any sort of issue, he's just on it right away. It's been awesome. So he helped me get that all set up, and it's just very user friendly, just very easy to use. And it's been a big help with running the hostel here for sure.
Wow. Okay. So before we move on to the next section, you want to talk about that hostel you were in?
I was just, his hostel is Big Bear Hostel on the PCT. So if you're ever out that way, check him out. He's amazing. He really helped us out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And so just had not met you, just saw what you were doing, and then got connected.
Yeah,
I love that.
Some Zoom meetings and phone calls and texts and emails. And yeah, it's been a great experience working with him.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
He's helped us out a lot. He knows so much, and it's just been a learning process for us. So
we've had a lot of hostels reach out and welcome us to the community when we announced it, you know, like Chicas and Sunsets, they reached out, and Gooder Grove and Above the Clouds, they all kind of welcomed us into the community and got to chit chat with them and see what made them successful, what the hikers liked, and really just listen to people's advices on what people's needs are. We're just here to help hikers.
Right. And that's so great to hear that it's not only, you know, it really is the whole hiking community. It isn't just for hikers. It's also hostel owners and shuttle drivers and everyone in between.
Yep.
The next thing I was going to ask, I know it's been probably a chaotic season so far, but do you have any stories of hikers or any memories so far that are kind of standing out that come to mind?
Nimble Will. That was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got this hat. I need to contact Nathan. He owns him and his wife had the Pinhoti Trail Center, and they sent me this hat and a couple things. I need to call them and thank them, send them a note. But they contacted us, said that number Will was coming up, and he'd already done the trail down there, and they were seeing if we could help him out, and we got to spend some time with him. Amazing man.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to meet him, I highly recommend
I
it.
got to interview him last week. And
that's
great. It honestly was luck because I just posted up on the trail in near Franklin. And it was pretty incredible. I was a little embarrassed because, normally I do a little bit of homework on the guest, and I hadn't properly done all of my homework on him. And I knew that he had hiked, and I didn't realize the scale of what he has hiked and how much he's hiked, and his
we're the same. We didn't have time to go as deep research before we came here, but I actually was glad I didn't because of you get to let them kind of tell you.
That's a good point.
And we Lisa got to hang out with him a little bit. She was able to run shuttle to Unicoi with him, and then I hung out one night and talked to him, and while he was eating pizza next door, and got to learn a lot about him, especially as
such an inspiration.
And he didn't start hiking until he was in his 60s, so it was 82 years old. I hope I'm in that shape when I'm 82.
I know.
I hope I'm half as good as that shape.
I know. It's such a good reminder. After my conversation with him, I was thinking about it that, there's really no timeline that any of us have to subscribe to, and whatever the dream is, big or small, it can really happen at any age. And I love that lesson. And I know he's got a lot of people rooting for him. I'm going to try to meet back up with him in Virginia and chat with him again. He already invited me to his Flag Mountain place in Alabama after the trail. I know he's so proud of it. Yeah, so he did the whole Pinhoti Trail, then part of the Bent McKay Trail, then the AT. So he's already 400, 500 miles in, which is just unbelievable. I can't even wrap my head around it. But anyway, so that's really cool that you all got to meet him.
Yeah.
It was real memorable.
Yeah.
We've had it's been cool because you meet all sorts of different people. Like we had a off-Broadway actor that stayed here, and just positive attitude from New York. He stands out. There's a lot of people that stand out. We've made a lot of friends this season, which is awesome. That's one of the reasons why we're wanting to do the hostel tour, or one idea. Some of the best memories that we have on some of the trips that we go on, wherever in the country or in the world, is the people that we meet and the nights that we have hanging out with strangers and then making friends. So,
and what a great opportunity here. I mean, as you know, people from around the world, come to attempt the trail. So that's so special. This next question here is a little bit of a two-parter. So what's something about the hostel that you've noticed the hikers really enjoy? Like really, they're really grateful to have it. And then what's something, especially being your first season, you've noticed like, oh, we should have that, or like, oh, we should have had that, and maybe you have it now.
The second part would be easy to
a washer, an extra washer and dryer.
Well, no, next season. Well, one of the things that we had at Midway, next year we're going to try and expand on the laundry facilities. Everyone's getting taken care of. I think it would just run smoother. All right, it would help our utility bill if we got some gas dryers in here. The utilities are real high with the laundry going all the time. But the pizza and ice cream and burritos and breakfast sandwiches, all that, we noticed that a lot of hikers, they're real eager to get into town, and it's with fuel costs and everything, we try to do it only a couple, 2-3 shuttles a day.
Sure.
And if someone comes in right when the shuttle's running town, well, it might be a few hours. So we finally got some food here for them during. And that was something that we're like, well, we do that next season, but once you start thinking about it, just go ahead and get it now and get it this season. And so we got deep freezer, a bunch of food in it. Hold the hikers over, and then we got the Cokes and sodas. That helps. I'd say the number one thing though that hikers have been the most excited about is the massage gun. So it's a deep impact massage gun. That just that's been a big hit. We have Epsom salt here as well. That's really been a big hit. We got a hot water line outside and a
little tub,
plastic tubs.
Plastic tub.
Oh, wow.
Guests can soak their feet and use a massage gun.
I just ordered a foot spa too, one that plugs in, that heats the water, massages, and then another little one that you put your feet on that does shiatsu and stuff for your feet.
Whoa.
And next year we're gonna try, and one of the things that a lot of people have been asking for, which is on our agenda and our plans to do, we just ran out of time because the bunks were built February 10th is when we started building bunks. They're not even a year old. Is put up curtains in the bunks.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then we would like to expand, try to get a few more accommodations, either more bunks or more little cabins and stuff, and then we'll expand into here next year as well. That's been we provide earplugs. That has been a huge hit. We give out earplugs with every stay. We have a basket with them or leave them on the nightstand in certain rooms.
Cool.
And the other thing we give out is toothbrushes available that they're pre-pasted.
That's cool.
Some people replace their stuff with that. They're all in the bathrooms. The other thing is, it's been funny. This actually been a lot of people that have been talking about is the bidets.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
During the great TP shortage of 2020, we ended up getting one and realized that it saves quite a bit of toilet paper and decided to just pop them on. And that's actually been amusingly, it's been amusing for the hikers. So a lot of them have thought it was funny, and then some people have actually enjoyed it. So
maybe their first encounter with a
Yeah.
actual bidet.
Right.
yeah. But it does help save on toilet paper, which we have a lot of toilet paper, I'm sure, that walks down the trail too, which is fine. It's hikers. They grab it where they can.
Exactly. Well, one of the last questions here I'll ask is, just as hostel owners, what advice would y'all have for hikers, just that they know as they continue on? You're probably one of the first hostels that they get to. So what would be some advice for hikers that you wish they knew ahead of time as running a hostel?
As partaking to a hostel owner, it's the one thing that I've seen that's not necessarily hostel related is that people that are traveling in groups, there's always someone that wants to kind of hang out a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And the advice I'd give to the newer hikers is that if catch up with your group. If people want to leave, you're not ready to leave, just won't hang out for a few more hours, just hang out. There's some people that really just, I don't know if that's the right way or
planned, and you just gotta
it'll all work out and you'll figure it out.
Not get so stressed out over certain timings.
Yeah, about mileage and time, and just enjoy it.
Don't worry what other people are doing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I don't feel like we can give advice about people that are through hiking because we've never done it.
I guess I mean more of like, what would make it easier on y'all? Like, what do you like as far as explaining how hostels work, or just like what would be easier for you to be successful here if like the hikers knew? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not so much about the hiking, but interacting with hostels.
Hikers have been really...
Everybody's just been so respectful.
Well, that's good. That's definitely good.
Super respectful.
Very generous and just appreciative. I don't know. I don't know.
Most of the hikers do go with flow. I'd say that the folks that we've seen made it furthest up the trail have some of the most positive, laid-back attitudes.
Wow.
And just are really on the the more grateful they are, the further up the trail we've seen them make it.
I got you. That's interesting.
Yeah, the folks that have been kind of salty
or stressed out or
and we always respond empathetically.
So you never know what's going on in their lives outside of the trail.
Those are the folks we haven't seen go as far, that their hike didn't go much further past here.
Wow.
The people that have been real upbeat, I think that's the thing is,
I think that's a good reminder, just in general, whether it's a section hike, a day hike, or a through hike, just going out to have fun is what it's all about.
We've enjoyed watching the hikers that have stayed here that follow us on Instagram. We follow them back and just watching them go up the trail.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it is neat.
Cheering them on.
Yeah, there's some folks that are 600 miles up here that stayed here in early February, and
wow,
there's several people that are 300 miles. We've met a lot of interesting people. We got to meet Mommy and Me. Mm-hmm. They were really cool, super positive people, and it shows how far they've gone so far, and just a bunch of different folks.
It's such a unique part of being at a hostel is seeing all these folks come through. Well, thank y'all so much for your time. There's certainly a lot of people rooting for y'all and really appreciate the hard work that you're doing. Just being here today, seeing the amount of people coming and going, and just how y'all are helping people out already is really cool. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Just through your website?
Website's good. Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, or call us,
And
email.
you're on Gut Hook. You're
Yeah,
pretty
we're
much
on Gut Hook as
everywhere.
well. Yep.
So it's pretty hard to miss y'all if you're looking for a hostel in Georgia. So
Yeah, Hook's been awesome. That's brought a lot of folks in. Instagram, like I said, we met there through Instagram, and even just either way, call us. Our website's hostelaroundthebend.com.
okay.
You can follow us on Instagram at Hostel Around the Bend. And we're also on Facebook as well.
Nice.
So,
And we'll put all that information in the show notes so people can go to your website from there.
Cool.
So awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very
thanks.
much.
Yeah, it's great talking to you.
All right. So such a great conversation with Gordon and Lisa. And let me tell you, they were really just troopers with their time. They were completely busy this day that I was there, and a lot of people interrupting, coming in and out. And they were so patient and kind throughout the whole thing. So very grateful for them and wanting to be interviewed. Just some logistical information. Hostel Around the Bend is located right below Dix Creek Gap. They're, like he mentioned, their address is in Hiawassee, Georgia. It's the furthest house in the county. I think that's pretty cool. Their phone number is 706-389-9668. And the email is stay, STAY, at hostelaroundthebend.com. Now, of course, this information will be in the show notes. It's also on their website, and they are on social media and all the places you would look for social media. Hostels are, I think, a really special part of the trail. And even if you're not through hiking and you're section hiking or day hiking, even finding ways to incorporate those kind of trail adjacent components, I think, is always really special. So whether it be an outfitter, a hostel, a shuttle, a certain restaurant, I think it really adds to the magic of the trail. And I know that a lot of people really, like I mentioned to them at the end, are really rooting for them to be successful there. I know that that's such an important space and component for the trail in North Georgia. And what a unique opportunity. I mean, to see so many hikers that are just beginning their journey, and then also to see a lot of hikers that are at the end of their journey for the southbound hikers. I'm sure that has to be really special. So thanks again to Gordon and Lisa for a great interview. All right, so I'm going to pass it over now to Steve, and he's going to catch up with Phoenix on her thru hike.
Hi guys, me again, Mighty Blue. You can't get rid of me, can you? Once more, Ryan, who I should tell you, by the way, is really coming up with the goods in his busiest time of the year in his job. He's knocked it out of the park. He's a very engaging interviewer and a naturally curious bloke. He asks the questions that most of us will want to know the answers to, and I thought he did a great job again today. Before we get to Katie and her latest adventures, I want to thank you all for continuing to not only listen to our shows, but also to those of you who donate to the shows. This week we've had monthly donations again from Michelle Brown and Jessica Diaz. Thanks so much, ladies. While Mary Litzenberg, Ralph Buckley and Carl Todd also sent generous donations. I really hope that you all know that your generosity not only keeps the shows going, but they also fill me with personal joy every time I see the email that says, "You've received a donation." It's pretty darn cool, I tell you. Now, Katie, I didn't really know what this week was going to bring because she's had such a tricky time with her knees so far, but then I got an email from her. Let her tell you about it herself. Here's Katie. So I'm back on with Katie, and you'll be able to tell by the fact that our sound should be better this week. She's not actually in the forest anymore. You said you're going to take a bit of a break. So what's happened in the last couple of days? So I know that you were going to go and see somebody. In fact, you went to see a sports medicine doctor this morning, didn't you?
Correct. Yes, Steve. Hi. Yes, so I did go see a sports medicine doctor, and they x-rayed the knees, and evidently I have a stress fracture in my left knee. So I've been off the knee for for about 10 days now, icing it and resting it. And so they've suggested that I give it a total of 4 weeks. So I'm a week and a half
All right.
into that. So that's kind of where I am.
So what is a stress? I don't even know what a stress fracture is, never having had one.
Well, you've heard of overuse injuries.
Of course, yeah.
You know, we talked about the big miles early on. It's not a result of a fall or an acute injury.
Sure, that's
good. You know, in fact, I was very happy. They said I have no arthritis in my knees. My knees are otherwise in good shape.
Always good to know in your 60s, isn't it?
So probably had a lot to do with the big miles in the Smokies, and then not resting them and continuing to add more big miles on.
It was something. I'm not picking holes in your plans at all,
sure.
but
Yeah.
It's something that everybody gets told that, don't they? They almost don't believe it. They almost think, well, we can, I'll be okay with this. Were you kind of disappointed in that? Obviously, you're disappointed
when I heard that I had a stress fracture.
Yeah.
Well, I was incredibly disappointed. So, I just immediately started talking to the doctor about, okay, what can I do to expedite this? What does it look like for me to get back on the trail? They were very positive about getting back on the trail.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And said, again, as anyone who's done this would say, is, be starting off with lower miles. My pack, of course, will be already lighter because I'll be out of the winter gear.
Sure, that's a good thing. Yeah.
So now it's just the frustrating part of, just having my plan thwarted the way I wanted it to be. But
it's funny, isn't it? Because I had to go home for a week in 2014, and even though you love home, you love being at home, you love being with people you love, it is frustrating because you hadn't planned to be there. It's almost like you'd written off that part of the year or this 6-month section. Now you're doing something you don't want to do, even though it's a thing you normally like to do more than anything else, I suspect.
You have described it exactly as I am experiencing it. Of course, I adore my family and they are wrapping me up in love. However, I felt a little like a fish out of water. I'd been gone for 5 weeks? So, yeah, a little over 5 weeks. And I had my routine and, what my days looked like. And I knew what I was doing for that time.
Yes.
And so to step out of that, you feel, to me, the only word I know, and there's probably a better word, is discombobulated. You feel like, what am I doing? So
imagine what it's going to be like if you go back and then you finish and then you come back home again. You're going to get this in spades. I mean, you're going to get even more so, because it is surprising how it takes you out of your routine. You get into an entirely different routine and a rhythm of your hike, don't you?
Absolutely. And I'm trying to keep a little of that for the mental health piece by strategizing and looking at, okay, I can approach it like this, or I can approach it like this. I have like plan A, plan B, and plan C of when I get back on. So just looking at it that way and keeping that piece going and actively, as I told the doctor, I need to be actively moving myself back to the trail. So
what does that mean for you then?
Well, she said I can start walking. I can walk now, just, nothing big, just some walking. Sure. Gave me lots of exercises that I can do daily to strengthen the muscles again around the knee and, taking care of whatever was lost in the last 10 days. And, at least to give me the feeling that I am actively working toward getting myself back out there.
I must say, when I went back after just the week, I'd lost a step. I got back up to 15-mile days pretty quickly, but I'd done 700 miles when I had to go home. And even that week off slowed me down a little bit. So it is almost like a bit of a reset. And something you wrote when you wrote to me in the email was sometimes the path to resiliency and achieving what you want requires you to take action that is not appealing to you. So which part of this is not appealing to you right now?
Well, the part that I'm not on the trail, not walking every day through the mountains, and truly one of the things that the aspects of the trail that I had really looked forward to and was really getting so much out of was just watching spring unfold.
Yes,
and so
yes.
that was, even on the difficult days, that was just the high point of my day. So, but that's okay. I mean, I will see another aspect of it.
You will, definitely.
The mountains will, and the trail will, there'll be still so much more to reveal.
Yeah, they ain't going anywhere.
to reveal themselves to me. So, it will be fine. And whatever, however whatever plan or strategy I take to complete this and see it to fruition, I feel like the mountains will still have plenty out there for me.
I'm sure they will. So your plan at the moment is you've got another couple of weeks. So you've said that your plan was to get back on trail in your email to me by May the 9th.
Right. That now has been pushed back, to put in the weeks that they're saying.
Oh, right, okay.
I may have to add like one more week to that. So
what are you going to do then? Are you going to go, you're going to try your own version of a flip-flop and not finish at Katahdin, or what are you going to do?
I think the reality now is that Katahdin will not be the end point for me.
Right.
I think the reality will be something like, so starting in Virginia, which is my home state. So
Sure.
Going into Virginia, and then just working my way through Virginia, and then maybe jump up, once I hit West Virginia, going ahead and hop up, to Maine and then come back. Then I may have to come back in. I still have 170 miles in North Carolina and Tennessee to finish. I mean, I may go back there and just do those before. Those are going to be a little trickier than Virginia.
Yeah, and it's not going to be. It wouldn't be easy to just catch up with your old team because they'll be going faster than you by then anyway, I suspect.
Exactly.
So you've just really got to restart your hikes. Why don't you turn it into leaving from West Virginia with the flip-floppers this year, and you become that part of that group. Only you've got 170 miles. You've only got 170 miles to finish, or whatever the number is.
I'm not sure. I'm not planning on. I don't think I would ever catch up to, like you said, the group that I was with. But
Sure.
All along, from the very beginning, it was never my intention to stay with a certain group, long term. It was not, in my heart, it was not critical for me to make the most of the trail. If I meet with people I connect with, I would enjoy it. That would be lovely. But
Sure.
It was never part of my original plan to use this, as the social experience.
Yes, yeah. But although it very much is a social experience as well,
sure.
isn't it?
Oh my gosh, the people I've met are awesome.
Has it been a spiritual? I can't even recall whether you are a spiritual person. Has it been a spiritual experience for you?
Well, it's certainly challenging my Zen.
You said that when you got on the phone to me. Yeah. So expand upon that. Then why is it? Well, I know why. I mean, it's challenging your Zen. You're staying positive, I know, but I can feel the crushing disappointment you must be feeling right now because you can't do anything right now. And this next couple of weeks, you're not making any bloody miles at all. And that's a horrible, horrible feeling.
Right.
But the good thing is to look forward to is you've got that to come. So I think that's where you should be really putting your focus right now. And you said to me earlier that it was the logistics. It was all logistics.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Just setting up for me, the getting on and getting off for resupply, anytime you get off, you're setting things up, you're setting yourself up for where you're going to stay, where you're going to
Sure.
resupply. And I feel like I had just gotten that under control, that I had just figured that out, and that it wasn't the big deal, that it seemed to be. So part of me has thought about, I've thought of different strategies, and I am certainly open to your listeners, any suggestion, advice, but I've met several hikers who then have their cars, and I think, what do they call it? Leapfrogging. Maybe that's
that's
it.
right. Yeah,
So you
that's
bring your car, put it up at a cross section of the trail, you hike, you're only carrying like a couple of days of
Sure.
food, so your pack's even that much lighter, and you resupply at your car, you go another few days, and then you shuttle back, which, oddly enough, that adds to the logistics.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know what, though, Katie? This isn't supposed to be easy. This is supposed to be darn hard. And those people who say that it's easy are fools. It just is not easy, especially of our generation. This is
That's right.
This is a thing that we've not experienced. And so, it's something that you take on knowingly and willingly, and it still smacks you in the face, doesn't it?
Absolutely, like a wet rag. However, as one of my daughters said, well, if it was easy, no, everybody would be doing it. So
That's right.
And I love the challenge of that.
Good.
I'm up for those challenges, and I know that each aspect of the setbacks, just they teach you, and so this is a disappointment, but I've had the doctor tell me that there's no reason whatsoever I cannot get back out there and do this.
Good.
And so that is absolutely my intention. And now for me, it is to just, use this time to find how I'm going to make this work. And
have you considered other things, like, for example, do you think your pack and everything you've taken with you is really just dialed in right now, or do you think you can still lose weight from your pack? Obviously, you're going to lose some of your winter gear, which is a good thing.
Yes, I think I'm going to lose my winter gear. I think I'm going to lose my camp shoes. If I decide to do this leapfrogging thing, my food weight will be down. But I think there are ways I can dial it in. Honestly, because I was doing some recording, I was carrying a couple of batteries with me. If I do the leapfrogging, I'll leave one battery in the car, carry one, so I do think I can lighten my pack. Also, toward the end, I had been carrying, the small smart water bottle and then the larger smart water bottle. But for the last week, I had, just stopped doing that and was just filtering along the way. And I think I can carry less water. So there's definitely...
It's learning as you go along, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's funny. It is such a learning experience when you have never done anything of this expanse before. Mm-hmm. And yet it's humbling at the same time, isn't it? Because it almost brings you to your knees. What am I going to do next, And yet you just do. You get up every morning, you pack, you walk, you eat, and you walk, you eat, you walk, you go, and you sleep again. Then you unpack, and then you get wet, and then you get dry, and all those sort of different things that happen to you. And they just become the parts of the trail that's happening to you right now. You're not affecting the trail. It's affecting you.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Look, stay in touch. If there's anything to report on your knee, we'll talk again next week. But if you're not going to be hiking for a couple of weeks, I'm not going to heighten your torture by reminding you of it. So we may leave it for a couple of weeks, but we will certainly stay in touch this week, you and I, and we'll find out if there's any progress one way or the other. Okay?
Absolutely, Steve. Thanks a bunch.
Okay, cheers then.
All right, bye-bye.
So there you go. It wasn't the greatest surprise I've ever heard, to be honest, but it was a pity nevertheless. You've all heard how she's poured her heart and soul into this trail, and to have to go home for however long is pretty darn crushing. It certainly happened to me when I went back home in 2014. But she's a trooper and she has a plan to get back. So let's hope she heals up and she's back on the trail very soon. Just before we go, can I remind you again, I forgot last week and I think the week before, that I'm looking for team members of Mighty Blues Family for a walk on behalf of Parenting Matters here in Florida. Basically, 10,000 Steps for 10,000 Families is a commitment to walk a total of 5 miles over a period of 2 weeks. And of course, you can do it wherever you are. It's a virtual walk that you sign up for, whether you're in the US, the UK, India, where people listen to the show, Australia, where they also listen, wherever. We'll be Team Mighty Blue and raise a few bucks for a remarkable charity. I'll put the link in the show notes and hope to see some of you sign up. Thanks so much. So that's it for another week. The hostel is open for business and Katie will be getting back on track very soon. Ryan, we'll see you next week.